I hit the training bag with everything I had. I was beating up my old boss, cursing my bad luck. It was just a punching bag, but in my head, I was fighting the whole world. Hey guys, my name's Kendra. I'm 24, and I'm a bodybuilder. The reason I was so upset that day was because my boss fired me. Apparently, I had gained too much muscle mass, and now I wasn't their type anymore. "We need a certain image," he said. I knew what he meant. He thought my body was weird because I was a girl and because I had muscle. The truth is, I wasn't trying to look like anything, I just liked weight training. I searched for another job, but was having a devil of a time. I got the same looks at interviews, and it made me want to give up. The truth is, a job was just a way to keep the lights on, but there was no passion. Inside the gym, things were simpler, but the bills were piling up outside the gym. And I was getting desperate to find something. In fact, I couldn't even afford my membership anymore. I went down to the gym to cancel, but I saw all these muscle men promoting the Powerlifting Federation. I thought about joining, but I needed to keep looking for a job. I found a flyer that changed everything. Powerlift on a team, free room and board, try out today. It sounded too good to be true, and I figured there had to be a catch. But since I was about to get evicted from my apartment, I went ahead and called the number. I tried out, and the coach was so impressed with my squats, he invited me to meet the team. Their practice gym was filled with all these super buff guys pumping iron, and I realized I might be the only girl on the team. All the boys looked at me. I noticed this guy named Julius. I saw his perfect abs first. He was hanging upside down like a bat doing these inverted sit-ups. Nearly the whole morning went by before anybody introduced themselves. It was this guy named Henry who first approached me. "Pretty impressive squats you got there," he said. And then, after everybody started to fizzle out of the gym, he asked me to get a smoothie with him. Henry was an old-school gentleman, and I could tell he had a thing for me. But if I was going to hook up with anybody, it was going to be Julius, because I couldn't seem to get him to talk to me. The next day, I got a call from the coach, who wanted to welcome me to the team. I was overjoyed, and he was equally as excited. He kept saying our team was going to make waves at the weightlifting meet. I was about to rock the full power, squats, bench press, and deadlift, but the squat was my main event. It was my father's event too. He was a championship bodybuilder and weightlifter, and I guess it was watching him that first got me inspired to start lifting myself. He showed me how to train safely, but most importantly, he taught me that I could do anything and to never believe anybody that put me down. I remember looking at all these paper clippings from my dad's college days when he set an all-time squat record for the region. I was hesitant to tell him that I was competing because my dad had grown an aversion to muscle training for some mysterious reason. He never told me why, but I found out it had something to do with this extreme muscle therapy technique he kind of invented. I kept my muscle training a secret. But inside, I really wanted to make my dad proud and show him how right he was, that I could do anything. I moved into the training facility, and I had my own dorm room. I was still infatuated with Julius. Sometimes I'd catch myself staring at him during training. His deadlift was impressive, and watching his muscles strain made my crush even heavier. I couldn't wait around forever. If he wouldn't ask me out, I'd ask him. I turned on my game, but he didn't exactly flirt back. What he said crushed me. Julius told me that the coach only let me on the team because he felt sorry for me. He said I was an embarrassment to muscle training and that I needed to learn my place. I had never been so humiliated all my life, and I became obsessed with humiliating him back. But it was easy to say and harder to do. My muscles strained and my body ached. I was outlifting Henry and most of the other guys, but Julius's numbers were impressive. Performing under him bothered me to the point that I couldn't sleep. It was on my brain all day and all night, until I had a thought that I couldn't unthink. What if I tried my dad's extreme muscle therapy? I searched my parents' garage and found my dad's old stuff. I even found pictures of my dad that showed him with insanely huge muscles. His notes showed that his growth multiplied over a short period with regular use of electrotherapy. I followed his diagrams and hooked my body up to the stimulation machine. I was expecting a zap, but instead my muscles became warm and soothing. The next morning, my muscles were sore and bulging. It was as if they had doubled in size. Along with the electric stimulation, my dad used a hormone-supplemented diet. Muscle therapy was working big time, and I'm pretty sure the boys at the gym could tell. This time, when I stared at Julius, it wasn't with romantic intention. I was not only going to prove myself the better lifter, I was going to absolutely dominate him in the tournament. I worked out harder, and my muscles swelled past their limits. People called me the She-Hulk. I wasn't growing green, but I was growing mean. With the muscle growth came an aggression I couldn't shake. I told myself it was good for competition, but things got out of hand. As you'd guess, it was Julius. He brought me a set of pom-poms before the tournament. "That way you can make yourself useful," he said. I was so angry, the veins in my neck bulged. I dropped the weight and went straight for him. I tackled him onto the ground and put him in a headlock. I had this surge of emotion, and at first I was thrilled that I finally stood up to Julius. But just as I was about to let Julius go, our coach walked in and saw everything. He chewed us both out, especially me. He cautioned me to keep my cool. If I got in another fight, I'd be off the team. I felt awful, and the explosion was so unlike me. Normally I was so laid back. I thought maybe the hormone diet had something to do with it. So I asked my dad more about his old routine. He could tell by my muscles that I had been using the electrotherapy, and he was really disappointed. He let his shoulders slump, and he told me the whole story. His bodybuilding career had come to a halt when he took things too far. He got addicted to the shock therapy, and his muscles eventually seized up on him in the middle of a competition. He had to step down from competing. "It's one of my biggest regrets," he said, and he implored me to learn from his mistakes. That night back at the gym, I decided to throw away the electrotherapy equipment. I wanted to prove myself, but at what cost? But Julius saw me throw away the equipment, and he dug my dad's invention out of the trash. He found my secret, and he wanted extreme muscle growth for himself. His muscles became so swollen and pumped that everybody got scared. I had to admit he was a beast in the gym, but I knew it was because he was shocking his muscles all night. I didn't want anybody to get hurt, even my nemesis. I talked to him one day after practice. I said I knew he was using the shock therapy. I told him my story, and my dad's. But still, he wouldn't admit it. I was about to tell the coach. But before I could say anything, Julius's muscle growth became so extreme, his bicep exploded. He dropped the weight on his foot, and he could barely move his arm, let alone do any weightlifting. It was unlike anything we'd seen, and the doctor said it might take years for him to heal. With Julius out of the tournament, Coach was looking at me to bring us victory. I was set on showing everybody what I was made of. The audience booed me, and some people said that a woman shouldn't compete with men. I started to worry that I couldn't do it. But I remembered my dad's advice. I could do anything. During my squat, my muscles strained, sweat poured down my face, my veins popped like crazy. I didn't need anything except my own will, and that afternoon, I put it to the test. A photographer snapped my picture just as I set a team record. I took first place in the squat, and our team walked away with the championship trophy. Seeing my dad beaming with pride meant the world to me, but doing it in a healthy way felt even better. Julius wasn't going to be able to lift anything for quite a while, but Coach let him stay on the team as a towel boy. I'm reminded of this saying that really applies here. Those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. Taking the time to consider my dad's mistakes helped me avoid them myself. But Julius had too much pride. He stopped me after the tournament, and I thought he was going to have something nasty to say. But he didn't. He said that he was actually impressed with my lifting. And then he asked me out to dinner. If Julius had asked me out when I first joined the team, I would have jumped at the chance. But now, it was Henry I'd rather spend my time with. He was always there for me. And that is worth a lot. What mistakes have you made? Maybe we can all learn from them. Tell us about it in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more Hidden Wisdom stories. Remember, when you share our stories, you're sharing wisdom.